Very good, Carolyn. All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. The regular council agenda for September 15th, 2025 was accepted as presented. Who would like to make the motion? Councillor Saw. All in favor? Motion carried. We'll get right into reports. Our CEO report, the status report.
No, I don't have a great deal to report after the last month, but just as an update, I am currently working on a draft bylaw for some amendments to the traffic regulation in relation to some of the emergent issues that have come with the new school zone and other matters. We are having some interesting issues with our LED signs, which I will touch on in the past.
Any questions regarding the status report? Nothing. We'll go to capital fund status.
So as council's aware, we have received the dewatering equipment, and we hope that over the next little while the dewatering press will be installed. We're working with our engineer right now to get that done expeditiously. I did want to mention, I put it at the end of my report, the highway LED signs are now running into serious repair and maintenance issues, as was forecast last year a little bit. While the mini PCs were replaced by kind donation, it has been confirmed that the screen equipment was discontinued, and that we will have only a limited amount of time available for panel replacement. About 24 panels on each sign from refurbished spares. We're doing that right now in conjunction with the supplier who helped install the LED signs years ago. We are currently attempting to pull some numbers together for this for the budget later on. But as we thought last year, we are going to run into some significant maintenance renewal costs quite soon.
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The highway LED signs, how much money are we going to pump into them? And I guess a point, should we just trash them and do something else there? Because we got 5 years out of them at those kind of costs. Yeah, I don't know if it's doing the community that much good myself.
They were installed, I believe, in 2016.
It was perfect.
They've performed their function until now relatively well, but we are running into problems now. The mini PCs started acting up last year. They've been replaced, but now it's the screens themselves and the internet connection. But it's bad luck in a way. They're they're basically 8 years old now. The product's discontinued. The supplier is refurbishing modeled panels, and we have an arrangement with them right now. However, to buy these panels new, if they could be supplied, they'd be nearly $300 each, and there's 48 in total across the two signs. So you're quickly into territory where purchasing something new is probably close to the same cost if you were buying in one show. So we have, as I say, we're going to pull some numbers together, but unfortunately, it's not great news.
If I could, one of our local residents companies stepped up and did this last repair. that was considerable dollars there too.
Yeah.
And when you add that to this, it just seems like a lot of money for, to me, I don't know if we're getting a big bang for the buck for what it is why I asked where we're going with it.
Well, it's definitely one of those areas where staff maybe have one view and the local chamber and council may have another on their utility. It is something that should be discussed in the near future as to whether capital renewal is undertaken or an alternative approach to signage. If those done.
Any other questions? Yeah, this will be a capital 2026 discussion item for sure. Okay. And I suppose your CAO report then?
And for the month of August, not a lot to report other than that we welcome Megan Nethercott to the Administrative Support 1 position. She recently started, and James City has been promoted to the Recreation Operator 1 position. So that one loss of a position earlier in the summer and utilities has had quite the knock-on effect on other departments and of course losing gone to administration.
Right, any questions from you? So Annie, we'll go into the health table. Is there anything you wanted to highlight? Christy?
Not really. We have one large purchase there. You can see we made our down payment for the wastewater treatment plant membranes, so that good, they're getting closer.
Any questions for Clayton? Not seeing any. Your report there, Clayton, is there anything you wanted to highlight?
Neil touched on it already. We've got a new member of staff, so that's really good news. Outside of that, we're working with the architect on the renovation or the conceptual plans for over here. Progress drawings, 40% are complete. They're getting close to 60%. Good news too.
Any questions? Councilor Mitchell?
Yeah, just want to, Clayton, thanks for breaking out the tippage there. I asked you last time and it's nice. So we can see exactly what the branches and yard waste is costing us. It's not a whole bunch, getting it all the way. And actually, as far as a long-term solution, it's the bill. The sludge hauling, is that anticipated to go down or up with the dewatering? So we won't be hauling. We still have to haul stuff away though.
We do, but part of the reason it's been higher the last couple months is because of all of the influx that we've had, yeah.
Yes, the sludge dewatering equipment should reduce how much we're hauling, but of course the backup in the main line is right in our biggest concern. It's still not completely down. The progress has been good, but it's still not the line that it's completely clear. Sure.
Any other questions? We'll move on to operations. Neil, is there anything you wanted to highlight there?
There was a bit of recent discussion. I noted some online about 20th Street up in the Westview, 29th Avenue area in the last couple of weeks. There's been an irregular flow of water coming out, a place in the road that utilities have already worked on. It's not coming from the main in that vicinity, so unfortunately we're looking at hide and seek game again with water. It doesn't appear to be a significant break or leak run by the potable water figures from the plant, but it's still very frustrating for us, obviously. In the year of the summer of groundwater. Other than that, I'm just happy to report that we are making progress on the plant. And we're in a better state than we were a month ago. The Springline users group have very kindly been doing quite a lot of exploration around trying to find the location of water coming from the spring. No major success yet, I understand, but we've really been spending quite a bit of time opening valves, closing valves, and really trying to find where that extra flow is going.
Counselor Saul?
Thank you. Neil, has the output from the plant and the billing, has that number of the cubes dropped much at all?
Yeah, it has dropped, not significantly, but compared to 2 years ago, it's definitely gone down.
So what are we at, like 100,000 cubes still, or
I'd have to,
10,000 cubes?
yeah, I'd have to bring that back to you, but I can report back on that.
We can provide that information. Ben, so we've got longitudinal data on that now.
Any other questions for operation? We'll go to recreation. Anything you wanted to highlight, you know?
Simply that, not- yes, the pool's closed now, and the liner work is underway. We're all keeping our fingers crossed that that's going to go well. Signs are good at this point in time. Significant capital item for the arena complex. All in all, the pool season seemed to go pretty well this year, and thank you to all our seasonal staff.
Any questions? Is there any consideration if there's a teacher strike, if there's any thing that we can offer as far as recreation for the kids, or any options that discussed?
In between, if there's anything free in terms of ice time, there's always possibilities. We can have a discussion with our manager about that. Hopefully there is a bit more public skate this year anyway. I think we can schedule at better times. However, I don't want to get hopes up with that much. We will be able to do something, but for the public, but the arena will be busy.
For sure. I'm planning. Pretty straightforward there. The case officer report, is there anything you wanted to highlight?
I think it's worth mentioning just generally, this has been a more active summer for our peace officer in terms of different municipal enforcement complaints than last year. It's been there's been quite a variety of issues to deal with, and certainly when you get back to council orientation in a few weeks' time, discussing municipal enforcement and how it works will be quite important. We've got a good example this year, a couple of examples this year. We did a very rare thing for us in the remedial action just quite recently, and it really underlines how serious a matter that is, how big an impact it can have on property owners, and how much of a last resort. But it definitely takes up a lot of staff time. There can't be too many of those through the summer. But in general, we've been having quite a lot of traffic stops as well. There's been quite a lot of focus on people driving the wrong way on the highway, and yes, the peace officer is allowed to pursue them the wrong way as well under his authorities, which is sometimes a surprise to other members of the public. It's it's been quite a busy year, and it's always interesting to hear the jurisdictions some of these cars and drivers come from. Too. If they're a slice of what's on highway too.
Thank you. Neil, on that whole thing about the cars going the wrong way, have we asked Alberta Transportation to put up better signage on 533 and over here at 533? Rather than the small sign?
Oh, we have to. We do talk to them regularly about signs and what additionally we can do at our expense. We do have to follow the regulatory sizes for certain types of highway sign on highways. I'm not hugely impressed with the visibility of the one-way type signs that we do have in Alberta, but we can keep asking about this. We know that there's a left turning issue on 553 on southbound southbound highway. It's a known issue. They are saying we know about it. We'll keep working.
Yeah, which is great. That's not a sign that making a legal turn. That's just people down drive. So the kid I worked in the tourist information booth for a summit, I sat right across from the hotel and it was constant. John Griffin found too, so it's never ending. So a sign saying that you can't make an illegal turn be a pretty big sign. So it's forever happening. I would be good. So it's great that Carlos is doing what he has to do. Fortunate you get people who get one block over and they're discombobulated and go the wrong way. So yeah, I saw him today get the side home hardware this way. So kudos to him because the magic was pretty.
Any other questions? I have good questions.
Was there any consideration for, I noticed, especially over the summer, but the directional areas too, or they used to be painted all the way up at every intersection, both lanes had the directional arrows on in them. And they haven't been, I can't remember the last time they were redone. So maybe instead of signage at the directional before the arrow was pointed in or painted in the asphalt.
Any other questions? Not seeing any emergency management. Anything we wanted to highlight, Daniel?
We have a 2-day training exercise this week. And we're closing the office for, I believe, the Friday, the Thursday. Yeah.
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's it's called the planning fee. It's basically about planning for your situation.
Any questions? I guess the one thing I kind of didn't go through is Georgina's development report. The one thing with the open house tomorrow night regarding the Heritage Building Inventory Project at the Coetzee Corner, that's from 4 till 7. And everyone's encouraged to come and learn about Heritage Building Inventory here in town. Thank
you. On your report, what was the permit for the library at a house at 2501 22nd Street? It says temporary building for library use. What's that about? It's a public library.
That's probably the temporary library for school.
No.
Because I think there's a converted kitchen container involved for that.
All right, we'll go into council reports verbally. course, with it being September, everything's back in the swing of things. I've been working with or connecting with Mary Lou at the Legion about this crosswalk. I don't know if she's been able to cut, oh, she came back to the town. Okay. She's got things lined up and, yeah, I've been talking to her almost every week with, she's had questions, so. And I know she's working with a few people on this. Silver Willow Lodge, I attended a residents meeting and the staff barbecue. The clinic, we held kind of our last meeting of this term to kind of just check in where we're at with everything. Things are looking like they're progressing in a positive way. It's been 2 years, so we're hesitantly optimistic, we'll say. But there is word that we could be on the capital budget for February, but we shall see. Nothing in writing. Mayors and Reeves attended that. ICF, we attended, Councillor Sop and I attended that last week. The main thing to come out of that is they are looking at doing an MD of Willow Creek Summer Games in 2027. And they're looking to see if there's interest in the communities, to kind of spread it out through the region. And there'll be more information, but I guess the MP of Willow Creek has a recreation coordinator that's super keen and would do all the logistics around it. So just look for more information on that. Met with Community Center regarding the Citizen Appreciation Wall. Still work in progress. Chamber meetings, Green Elevator meetings, and then met with a film scout last week who's looking at Nanton for a new movie here in town. Did I see none, all in all? Councillor Sop.
Whether a council administration, plan, but what's not that the ICF was a company on October 1st. When we make a presentation, in terms of air waste. You're looking at a $20 million purchase that will burn garbage and make diesel for the guys, companies coming here, they tell everybody all the ins and outs. Why it would affect them because they want to go. If you change what we do, essentially, foothill, if that is stuff for them. We're not thinking of the drivers and doing the compensation that the $20 million is spending. But she thinks these voters use the garbage. So the presentation is October 5th, that one is thought. Council is invited. There's something interesting. They've gone to one already. Minnesville was running one of the products for the burn. It's a burn unit. This isn't a burn unit. It might be worth. And thank you. Sorry about
Yeah.
my microphone.
Thank you for mentioning the is it burned waste or waste to energy project that they're looking at. When we were in that meeting, I actually reached out to Councillor Mitchell because he's been on that commission in Foothills for 15 some years, and I thought that would definitely be of value for him to attend.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I mentioned that. Yeah, and I reached out to Joe, manager of the landfill, to get his kind of, they do state some facts about landfills. That when you're building a business case for I want the actual, from an actual landfill person, not the business saying landfills are bad, this is good. So I meet Monday. So I'm looking forward to just get his kind of take and what the numbers are, what they stated, what they actually said. So, but it's encouraging if they built a business case for it, because Sawa for Southern Alberta Waste from Energy for years could not make a business case because the trucking just killed it. I noticed this case, it depends a lot on carbon credits. That's the majority of the business case. So it'll be interesting to see. I got it down on my calendar to attend. So yeah, that's great work. So it's or just the necessities of other event. We'll see what,
Yeah, there are lots of questions around
Good,
the
no,
table and they kept saying, no, attend this meeting.
Yeah,
That's what the
no, I
questions
got it.
are for and
Could I ask Council Mitchell a question? Um, If this is a successful idea, how come Foothills isn't on?
I don't know.
Any word?
No, because I mentioned it to Joe, Vine. Unbelievable, by the way. He never heard of. Never heard of the company, never heard any of it. And that guy is in tune with everything because that Foothills landfill is leading edge on so many waste reduction and stuff. It's crazy how we, especially he takes the lead on a lot of that stuff. So that's, again, I'm kind of looking forward to maybe having a bit more of a conversation with them. Yeah, and we gotta do our diligence, right? And same thing, go to the meeting with open eyes and open mind and see what they got and hopefully, obviously, this is solve a lot of problems if it leads to viable and this is, like I said, the biggest problem against any of these has been the business case. Because if it's not subsidized or if it's, and that's where the carbon credits kind of scare me a little bit. Let's just transfer money back and forth. So we'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward. Appreciate Mayor Jordan.
I guess we're on to you anyway. Okay, perfect. You're good. We'll go on to Councillor Sorensen. You're good. It's still early, yeah, it's all good. Councillor Jocelyn.
Not a whole lot to report, just a couple of things that I've been trying to catch up with on the Foothills Regional Emergency Services Committee. They're still busy working away with health services and some of the CAD stuff. They have had a little bit of transition over the last little while with some of their dispatch staff, which is attrition and promotion, et cetera. So that other than that, it's been a busy summer.
Thank you, Councillor Jocelyn. And can we have a motion to accept all reports as recorded on the agenda for September 15th, 2025 be received, the information and filing? Councillor Mitchell, all in favor? Motion carries. We'll go on to September 2nd, regular council meeting minutes. The councillors all having read minutes. There being no errors, omissions, or corrections, minutes of the regular meeting of the Council of the Town of Fenton held September 2nd, 2025 were accepted as distributed. Who would like to make that motion? Councillor Sorensen, all in favor? Motion carries. We'll go right into franchise fee.
Okay. We'll start off with the recommendation. The administration recommends that council approve an increase to the Fortis franchise fee for 2026 to 10% and an increase to ATCO franchise fees for 2026 to 20%. So annually, we bring this to council. Part of the franchise agreement allows council to review it and make changes if they see fit. In 2022, council put a new policy in place around setting the franchise fee, and it's to be calculated or per the policy, the average of all franchise fees across the province is to be calculated and then compared to the Nanton town's current fee. If the provincial average is more than half a percentage point higher than the Nanton fee, a change should be implemented. If it's less than that, then no changes necessary. For 2025, the Fortis franchise fees been calculated at 10.07%. This is up just slightly from 2024. The current franchise fee for Nanton is 9%. So we're close, but we are less than, or we're below that provincial average. The ATCO franchise fee for 2025 has been calculated at 20.04%. Also a small increase from the previous year. Yanton's franchise fee is 19%. So again, we're close, but not quite. A request to change the franchise fees if council approves has to be received by ATCO by the end of October and Fortis by November the 7th. In terms of the franchise fee revenue that is generated if we were to implement a change. Fortis, you can see there at 10%, they're projecting just shy of 218,000. ATCO is projecting just shy of 158,000. And you can see there at 9% the numbers comparison. So that's just shy of $30,000 more in revenue that we could make. The actual franchise fees generated are typically higher than that estimate. If we apply that thinking, the 2026 revenues could be as high as 386,000. The Fortis franchise fee's been at 9% since 2019. And the ATCO franchise fee was changed in 2022. In comparison, the 2025 franchise fee revenue, right now we're projecting 362,000. And that was based off an original estimate of 347,000. So the final numbers could vary, but we're on track to be ahead. So I think from a budget perspective, the additional revenue is always welcome. But we do know that the revenue is generated by a fee from ATCO and Fortis to its Yanton customers. So approximately $185 per year, depending on their electricity and gas consumption. So any change that is implemented would affect ratepayers. It is important to note, though, that the fee is slightly different than taxes in that the municipality levies, since all users of power and gas are charged this fee. So several properties in town are exempt from municipal tax. And then just as a reminder, council also implemented a change to the reserve policy in 2022 that created the new sustainability reserve. That year we implemented an increase to the franchise fees for ATCO, and that additional revenue went to this new reserve. So per the policy, 10% of franchise fee revenue will go to the reserve up to a maximum of $20,000. For this year, we have already met that, and so we put $20,000 into that new reserve and $40,000 into the public realm reserve. So if council approved an increase, as we're suggesting, one option would be to change the amount or percentage that goes to the franchise fee revenue that goes to that reserve. That's just an option for you guys. Again, this is our recommendation based on policy. It's totally up to you guys.
Thank you for that, Clayton. Who wants to start off the discussion? Any questions? Councilor Saab?
I'll start the conversation. From ATCO, it is a slight increase, but for our ratepayers, I don't support raising this at all. That in a nutshell is how I feel. Either one, no increase.
Because, and that's interesting, because the policy was kind of crafted with your initial thought process that, we should be average. So I'd want to understand maybe a little bit more that here we're at the average, but now is the policy working in the way that you thought it would work, or is it more just from a residential impact standpoint?
I feel we're raising it because we can. Not really a need for it. And it is such a slight increase from Fortis. If it was a bigger amount, I could see doing it. In my mind, I'm just not seeing, because they've raised it very little, it doesn't warrant us. That's how I feel this year. I have to say that. But I do also, the council chooses that they're going to pass this change the percentage to go to the public realm reserve. The sustainable.
Thank you, Councillor Zach. Councillor Desmond? That's the only light I see, so.
Dave Chicken. I kind of look at these franchise fees as pay me now, pay me later. And even though what I really enjoy about the policy is it used to be up until we added the policy that it would just go back in the general coffers and there was really no designated spot for it to go. And I agree with you, Councillor Zopp, that I'd like to see the percentage increase to go to the reserve so that we're tagging a larger portion of what we collect. At the end of the day, the more revenue that we collect is less we have to collect in taxation. And just much like how council has been kind of dumped on from our senior governments on, being collections and stroking a check to all the different things we have to over a tax year. The importance of being able to have the authority to ear tag money to go to public realm and to the sustainability reserve is something that is kind of that pay now, pay me later type of attitude. So we're lessening the tax burden on the citizens by increasing revenue, but yet where we're switching that revenue on to gas or electricity. I can't understate the importance or overstate the importance, I should say, of us having the ability to designate where that money goes. And any other way, we don't. So I support what administration has brought forward for us with the small increases, but we'll see what a little bit more money into the public
Yeah.
If council wishes to do what the two previous councillors have been suggesting, your recommendation right now is that council approve an increase to the Fortis franchise fee for 2026 to 10% and increase to ATCO franchise fees for 2026 to 20%. You would simply add the revenue increase for 2026 to go to the public realm and sustainability fund reserves to that resolution.
Yeah, so sorry, Neil, the increase will go to the realm?
The extra revenue.
Yeah.
That would be in addition to the usual
Okay,
formula.
I think that was, keep in mind, you do use the money for things. So it's said pay me later. So I like the idea of whatever's extra, it's going for that. And that's the whole idea behind this. It's death by 1,000 cuts, so to speak, because if we don't raise it, all of a sudden that average is gonna go up next year. Now we're gonna be raising bigger hit. The policy was put in place just for that reason, so that you didn't have to come back every year and mull it over and come up with a number and there's this and there's this and every other town's at. This allows administration to start from a pretty good spot. I like the idea of just again, rather forward thinking, just to have that go towards.
Any other comments? Yes, please, sorry.
Thank you. Would you know, would you tell us how much of the money out of the public realm was spent this year? Do you know?
Right now, there's been no money from the public realm reserve used in 2025. We do have budgeted 50,000 for the VIC center improvements, but we haven't got that far to use that money.
There's no money used or no money available?
No, there's money available, but we haven't had to use any of that money.
Just to add to what Clayton said, there's the goal of that fund is to grow it so that we do have a kind of slowly increasing reserve for potentially match funding for large and larger projects that we don't always have room for. So the goal is not to spend everything we've got every year, but to try and build it while spending it on good projects.
And boy, have we ever. And I remember when we brought this in, because there was never any money for beautification. And this was the whole point, was to finally earmark money intentionally for these types of projects. And it's nice to see that really come to fruition. So what I'm hearing around the council table is that we would be going with recommendation number 2, move to increase the Fortis franchise fee for 2026 to 10% and an increase to ATCO fees for 2026 to 20%, with the additional revenue to go to the Community Sustainability Reserve and the Public Realm Reserve. I think one of the important things that might have been a little bit overlooked in Clayton's report too is that there's many buildings that don't pay property taxes, and this is just a little bit of capturing their usage and contribution to the work that we do in town. Who would like to make that? Councillor Dosman is going to make the motion. All in favor? Approved unanimously. Thanks, guys.
Just for council's interest, we quickly looked it up, but at year end this year, there should be building in, assuming the commitment to the VIC area has been spent or will be spent. Public realm balance is $167,000, 21,000 available to the sustainability reserve at year end.
That's fantastic. Excellent. Thank you, Clayton. Okay, we'll go request for decision, the draft bylaw to repeal obsolete bylaw. Carolyn, I suppose.
So with some of the legislative changes that we've had this year from the provincial government, we do have 2 bylaws that I would like to repeal before the new council comes in. One of those is the council orientation. There is no more council orientation by bylaw. The province is supposed to be coming out with their own legislation shortly. We haven't seen that yet, but we've had a few questionnaires on that. And then the other one is on the FOIP Act. We had a bylaw on the process for the FOIP structure, but FOIP was repealed on June 11th, 2025 and replaced with the Access to Information Act and the Protection of Privacy Act. So both of those bylaws are in need of repeal before the election this year.
Any questions regarding these bylaws?
Yeah, it's funny that there's nothing wrong with these bylaws. They make sense. We're doing this because senior government has changed the playing field, so to speak. And we're not alone. It's how it's going through. My fear is that we don't throw them away. We may have to bring a statement later, but yeah, I appreciate this. It's a housekeeping.
Yeah, I will be bringing forward a policy for the new Access to Information Act and the Protection of Privacy. I see most of my counterparts in the Clerks Association going to policies instead of bylaws. But I'm still reviewing what kind of information is coming out before finalizing the policy on that. So do bear with me.
Yeah, I know when the Minister of Municipal Affairs, Dan Williams, went to Fort McLeod last month, and this question came up, and he's of course brand new minister. He said not to anticipate it until the spring sometimes, which is unfortunate, right? Now you've got kind of brand new councils without really any guidelines around it, and they've had a couple of years, but here we are. So we will do as we are obligated to do. Any other questions? Not seeing any. We'll move to read Town of Nanton bylaw 141225, a bylaw to repeal legislatively obsolete bylaws for a first time. Who would like to start? Councillor Mitchell, all in favor? Motion carries. Move to read Town of Nanton bylaw 1412 for a second time. Councillor Dozeman, all in favor? Motion carries. Unanimous consent to read Town of Nanton bylaw 141225 for a third time is granted by all of council present. Who would like to make that motion? Councillor Sorensen, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, we've got one more. You ready, Councillor Saab? Move to read Town of Nanton bylaw 141225 for a third and final time. Councillor Saab, thank you. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, request for decision on the public complaint policy.
Yes, so this is really focused on the peace officer function or protective services. We need council's approval to rescind the policy on the public complaint process. And we're replacing it with an updated standard operating procedure instead that aligns with current legislation and provides for more flexible administrative updates. We, for the first time in 3 years, we dealt with a complaint quite recently, and even though the policy when we brought it in 2022 was brand new and compliant, it now isn't. So our preference would be, like other jurisdictions, to have an SOP that aligns with current legislation and one that we can fairly pragmatically update. It's not as I say, it's specifically for the peace officer program, and we need to make sure that it does what the Solicitor General's office requires us to do.
Any questions? Councillor Saab?
Thank you. As I read through this, due to social media, if there's a complaint against the peace officer, and the way social media is council made aware by you at any stage there's an investigation, there's a complaint or anything, are we made aware of there's something at play there? Or are we get confronted by somebody in the street, it's happened to Mary or Joe or whoever, and we're stuck for answers other than I don't know.
If it's a significant file, I would make council aware of it in a closed meeting while the investigation was being done. However, because it's a provincial program, there's a provincial aspect to more serious investigations as well. There's a lot of discretion for the supervisor position as well to determine whether it's a frivolous or unfounded complaint. We do provide statistics annually on complaints. There have been very few and continue to be very few over the last few years. The bar is really a difficult one. What point would I let council know? But that's where you kind of rely on your sole employee to let you know. If someone in the local public comes up to you, they have to appreciate that there's confidentiality around that. The complaint may be unfounded. They will get a response to their complaint if it's not anonymous. Anonymous complaints don't go very far. And people's identities will be held in confidence. But you can't just phone in, like, so this or that. What you can do about it, it needs to be a proper formal complaint. For it to be dealt with properly. So I hope that answers the question, but there is a degree of trust in what I bring forward.
Thank you. That explains it, yes. In the other municipalities of Bulk and Claresholm and not cities so much, is it standard? Peace officer is your employee. Is it standard that you would head that investigation? Just,
It depends on the size of the municipality. We're a fairly small operation. So really there isn't much alternative unless, again, if it were a really serious allegation of some kind, we'd perhaps see how we could bring in someone from a different municipality to do the investigation.
I was thinking more like, is it just you or is it you and the mayor deal with the investigation type of thing?
No, there's no political aspect to it at all.
Okay, any other questions? Not seeing any, could I move that the policy 26-108 220321, the public complaint process, be rescinded and replaced with an administrative standard operating procedure for the management of public complaints. Who would like to make that motion? Counselor Slop. All in favor? Motion carried. Item 6.1.1, the proclamation request for inclusion foothills. Easy to do. We need to read that out, or how do we? We just sign the papers, don't need a motion or anything. I think in the past, yeah, we've just acknowledged it, we'll sign the paper and then we post it online. Okay, I just wanted to double check with all the changes, like if there's any new rules around proclamation. Yet. Item 6.2.1, the Netton Native Learning Circle, their thank you card. For the promotional grant with the story of the TV, which was held on August 2nd. And I encourage anyone to try to attend that next year. It's a really, really great addition to Netton Days. Livingston Range School Division, the elementary school groundbreaking, which is happening this Thursday, I believe it is. Is anyone else attending it? I know Counselor Miller is going to try. I'll be there on Thursday for the groundbreaking. Let me know. And then item 6.2.3, the Nanton Branch Legion Week request. In time, we'll need a motion to adjourn. At 7:53, Counselor Duncan. Thank you. I know. I told my husband, it was like,